Welcome to the woodlands and welcome to the video. Today I actually thought we would have a small little gear talk. I recently purchased the X-H2 and today I thought I would share with you why I bought this camera. This is in no means a review, this is just why I bought the camera and a couple of things I found out about the camera. As well as we'll try and make some nice autonomous photographs today. We'll see if we can find something to photograph. Go on then. Why did I buy this camera? Well, it was due to 4 reasons actually. And those 4 reasons are video capabilities, autofocus, screen and dial design, and the X factor. Let me explain. Firstly, the video capabilities. I wanted a hybrid camera as I do these YouTube videos and I aim on continuing making them. Therefore, I wanted a camera that could do both still photography and video. So I wanted a nice hybrid camera. The X-H2 kind of fit that bill. Autofocus. It wasn't terrible on the X-H1 for still photography. However, the video autofocus, I could never trust it. So I always manual focused. It's really nice to be able to set up the camera and just trust the autofocus. As well as a small upgrade in low light autofocus, always nice. Another thing I really wanted buying a new camera was a fully articulated screen, or at least a screen you could flip out and look at yourself. A selfie screen. It's actually quite useful. But all those points could be true for like a Sony as well. But one thing that is kind of unique to this camera is actually the dial. The PASP dial, the dreaded PASP dial. I actually do like the retro dials of my X-H1 and my X-T20, but I don't mind the PASP dial. And there is one really nice feature with this, and it's the custom modes. It's not super unique. Most camera has a couple of custom settings on the dial, but this has 7 of them, and that's just so lovely. That means I can have a couple set to video modes and a couple set to still. And you can map almost all settings to these custom modes. That makes life so much easier. But is that really enough to buy a camera? A couple of custom modes? Perhaps not. That leaves the X factor. Could stand for the Fuji X system. I am a long-time user of the FujiFilm system. I have plenty of glass for the FujiFilm cameras. But it wasn't for the cost. I do plan on getting the red badge soon later on. If I add in that cost to the body, it's almost the same as the Sony camera or the Nikon or some other camera. That leaves that personal X factor, your gut feeling. Thing was, I went into a local camera store to check out the camera, see how it feels. It just felt like home. And I just had a short little wander around the city. And then I thought to myself, I want one of those cameras. Simple as that. So I bought one. There you go, my reasons for buying this X-H2. Kind of funny, I'm at this famous locale for autumn photography, for color photography, and I'm shooting black and white. This scene called for black and white, so I set it to the A-cross film simulation with red filter, the equivalent of a red filter. I have these mossy rocks leading up to a group of trees, silver trees, or grey silvery trees. Look kind of interesting and nice. I'm not sure it will work. It's quite a complex image, but something I try to work on. So this is exactly the kind of images I wish to take in the future. So I hope it works out. We'll see when I get back to the computer. Anyhow, about the camera. This is a lovely camera. Fuji is really good at industrial design, in my opinion. They've made a couple of changes from the X-H2 that made it just so much, that slightly bit sleeker than its predecessor. Firstly, the new dial design, of course. That also means there's a single dial on top. That makes the screen make more sense, and it is a beautiful little top screen here. Also, they moved before they have these small little eyelets on the side for your straps. Now they are integrated in the body. Just makes it slightly better looking. As well, on the left hand side where you have your ports, your mic input, etc. There are individual doors for those ports. Just a slightly more sleek. Just in general, a lovely camera to handle and good looking in my opinion. The glaring issue with the X-H2 is I only have one of them. I still rely on my X-H2 if I want to film myself using the X-H2 to take still images. If I had unlimited funds, I probably would have gotten myself an X-H2S as well, but I don't, so I still have to use the X-H2 from time to time. Anyhow, about the image I'm photographing here. As you can see here, this is what I'm photographing. I have this lovely scene here with a lot of coloring within the scene. Kind of keeping all the colors to the left hand of the frame, and then we have a bit dark on the right hand side. Offsetting the balance slightly, but making it a bit more interesting. I'm using those two trees to the right as my interest on the right hand side, and then we have that kind of crooked tree towards the left hand, balancing out the frame and keeping some interest there. And then the lovely color among the leaves, that what makes its image. And it's a good little image to showcase the strength of this camera, detail resolution there. If you do want to see the full resolution images, I will make a companion blog post. I'll link that in the description so you can see the image in its full resolution. I'm actually going to put on a polarize as well, as I might think it could help a bit with the leaves up on the left. There's still some little glare there. It's a really overcast day there today, but we still have some reflections there. And just putting on the polarizer will take away a bit of that glare from the sun. It will not make a huge difference, but just those small little details. This might be my most brilliant shot ever. I'm just having a bit of a hybrid. But it is one of those shots that is either quite good or incredibly what were you doing kind of shots. You can see I'm standing quite tight to this tree here, and there's quite a lot of rocks here, mossy rocks, so it's hard to position your tripod so it's stable. The thing is, the woodlands I'm in now, it's this incredibly messy woodland, and I just thought to myself, well, I'm just going to lean into it instead and try and capture that messiness, if that makes sense. This is an incredibly complex shot, but I hope it works. I opted for black and white, as it just simplifies it a bit. Removing the color removes one of those little distractions within the image, because the color is kind of distracting in this image, which is funny considering I'm out here photographing autumn, but that's the way it goes. Anyhow, I was supposed to talk about the X-H2, right? Well, a couple of small nags I'm not too fond of with the X-H2. A couple of weird things actually. One, remove the exposure compensation. Why? There's no button for it. Suppose I can map one there, and it's nothing I use, so it's not a big deal, but kind of weird. Nowadays they removed the ISO dial, and that's not a big thing, but they added a ISO button. But it just pulls up the menu for the ISO, you still have to use the D-pad. Why not do it as an exposure compensation button, so press and keep depressed and scroll on the wheel? Or allow me to map the ISO to the back wheel. I don't really use the back wheel, as the aperture is controlled on most of the Fuji lenses on the lens ring itself. Another one of those small annoyances is actually that fully articulate screen. This isn't unique for the FujiFilm, but I have a kind of a weird tripod setup with a geared head, and I need an L bracket if I wish to be able to take pictures in portrait orientation. The L bracket, my old L bracket, just didn't work with this camera. It's the three-legged thing Ellie with the Peak design plate. Might be able to make it work, but I bought a new one from Small Rig instead, so now I have a L bracket for both my cameras, which is nice, and it's just a small little things. Another one of those is that little switch on the front on the older FujiFilm camera. Most of them you have for switching focus mode. There's a button in this camera, and that's fine. But why not let me cycle through the menu with that button? Instead, once again, you have to use the D-pad or the joystick. Small little things, but in general I'm really happy with this camera. It is a lovely camera, and as I said, I just love the industrial design of FujiFilm cameras. As you might have noticed, I haven't really discussed the 8K capabilities, the 40 megapixel sensor and all that good stuff. Well, that's because I don't really need that. It's just plain old overkill for me, but that is a nice safety margin. It is a step up from my X-H2, but it's not a leap, it's a small increase. Comparing images from both cameras, it is hard to spot the difference in still and in video. But then again, it is a small increase, which is always nice. As well as the video capability is better at its camera, and something for me to grow with, as I do wish to learn more about videography in the future. It comes down to those small details when you are buying a camera today, I think, in my opinion. As most of the new modern cameras will perform quite well in both video and in the stills department, especially if you buy at that prosumer professional level cameras. I shared a couple of those things in this video. As I did mention as well, I will do a companion blog post, and I'll write a couple of more in that about the design and what I like about the camera. So if you want more information, do check that out on my webpage. It is linked down in the description. And in that blog post there will be full resolution images, so you can view them without the YouTube compression. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Do take care and bye.